Alright, 6th graders, today we're looking at triangles. By the end of this lesson, you want to be able to classify triangles and then find missing angle measures inside of triangles. We're going to start out with 3 different ways that you can classify triangles, and these are all by angle measure. Okay? First of all, we have our acute triangle, which is a triangle with all acute angles, which means none of your angles are over 90 degrees. Our second one is a right triangle, which is a triangle with exactly one right angle. And an obtuse triangle is a triangle with exactly one obtuse angle. So using those definitions, I want you to pause the video and see if you can classify each triangle as acute, right, or obtuse. If we look at our first one, we see 57, 63, and 60. Since all of those are under 90 degrees, this would be an acute triangle. In our second triangle, we have a 40, 40, but then we have a 100-degree angle. Since 100 is more than 90, this one is obtuse. On our third triangle, there's only one angle that's marked, but it's that square. So remember, that means it's a right angle. So this would be a right triangle. Another thing you should know about triangles is that the sum of the measures of the angles in a triangle is always 180 degrees. So using that information, we can find the value of x, or the missing angle measure, in a triangle. So for example, if we look at our first triangle, we have an x, we have a square, which means 90, and a 22. So that means that x plus 90 plus 22 has to equal 180. Well, 90 plus 22 would give us 112, or we could look at it as, so now we need to figure out like what plus 112 equals 180, or we can do 180 minus 112 equals x, in which case, if we do that, we get 68. So our missing angle is 68 degrees. So now you go ahead and pause the video and try the next one on your own. Alright, in this situation we have 37 plus 84 plus x has to equal 180. If we do 37 plus 84, we get 121 plus x equals 180. So now what plus 121 equals 180? Or we can look at it as 180 minus 121 equals x. And we get that x equals 59 degrees. Another thing we can look at in a triangle, besides its angles, are the lines. And triangles are made up of line segments, which is a straight path between 2 points. So we can create lots of different line segments. And congruent segments just mean line segments with the same length, and they are indicated with tick marks. So they kind of look like marks like that on a line. Right? There are 3 types of triangles that we can classify by their sides. So all of these are side classifications. So earlier, when we were looking at our triangles and we did it by angle, we can actually classify a triangle 2 ways, because we can classify it by its sides and by its angles. You could have something like a scalene acute, or a right equilateral, and things like that. So there are 2 ways that you can classify triangles. Now, a scalene triangle just means it has no congruent sides. So all 3 sides are different. An isosceles triangle has at least 2 sides congruent. So remember we said those little tick marks? You would see little lines like that. That means that those 2 sides are equal to each other. And equilateral, if you hear the word equal, means it has 3 congruent sides. So it would look something like that. Or sometimes if you see shapes next to each other, to show that they're not necessarily equal with each other, the first shape might have those 2 tick marks, and then these would have each 2 to show that these 3 lengths are all equal. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know. And don't forget that we can always classify triangles 2 different ways.